Good morning. So grateful to be with you all. So our original plan was that my wife Heather was going to be with me here today and providing some special music. And unfortunately, she has this bronchial cough that hasn't subsided, and singing was no longer an option. So the closest sub I could find was her mother. So you're in for a treat because Janice Marsh-Prelsnick has this machine. She's going to tell you a little bit more about it, and we're going to allow this plant to actually do the music for our meditation that I'm going to guide. But tell us a little bit more, Janice, about your plant machine and what we're experiencing this morning. Do you have a microphone? Okay.
Well, what you're hearing right now is this poinsettia plant saying, "Good morning." I have 2 electrodes that are hooked up on the plant here, and they are recording the vibrations inside the plant. And then the vibrations go into a synthesizer, which turns it into music. So this is the sound of a poinsettia. So the rhythm and the melody that you hear is the plant, and then I just choose which sound it makes. So today I chose a harp sound.
Beautiful. So we're going to take this into meditation now, knowing that this plant is demonstrating to us how all of life is one. That truly we are simply vibrational, energetic beings, part of the one collective, the one wholeness. So as we listen to the music, this unique sound of the energy that is being expressed by this poinsettia, we know that we too are all unique individuals expressing the one divine presence. So let's begin by focusing on our breath. Consciously intending for our breath to slow down, to deepen into our belly. Noticing the rise and fall of the belly with each breath. Dropping deeper into our energetic body and allowing the mind to slow down, to quiet. To begin to tune into the vibration of this plant. Feeling the energy in this room. And I invite you now to picture in your mind's eye yourself in one of your favorite places in nature. It could be your own backyard, perhaps somewhere you've traveled or visited. Ocean, waterfall, mountain, forest, field. Whatever that spot is for you, where you feel that peace, that oneness, that connection with all of life. And just invite that peace into your awareness right here, right now. Invite the presence, the connection, the love, the oneness into your field right here, right now. As you imagine yourself in this sacred place in nature. We breathe, we let go. We release all worries and concern. We become completely present right here, right now. And in this field of oneness, in this place of peace, we ask ourselves, what is it that I value most? What do I value most in life? Just allow pictures, words, images to come to mind as we're in this place of connection with our higher self, with the one mind. Inviting perhaps something new or surprising to reveal itself to us this day as we ask, what do I value most? And taking this inquiry even deeper, we ask now, does my time and energy match those values? Just noticing, perhaps reflecting on how we most spend our time and our energy currently in our life. And is there an invitation somewhere in that to make a shift, to make a change, such that we are more in line with that which we seek to be, those values of freedom, of love, of creativity, of peace? What do I value most? And does my time and energy match that? And now we're going to begin to come back to this room at this time, saying goodbye for now for this place and nature, knowing that it is always there. At any moment, we can take a breath, we can close our eyes, we can tune in, we can be instantly in that place of peace. So we give great thanks now for this beautiful music of the plants, for lending its energy, for guiding this time together. We give great thanks for what has revealed and what will continue to reveal itself on our hearts through us this day around what we value and how we can step more into alignment with those values. So I invite you now to take another deep, conscious breath and open your eyes. Just take a moment to look around the room. Thank you. I'm going to grab it. Yes. So now you can go home and tell someone that you've meditated to plants. Perhaps a new experience for some of you. So at the end of last year, 2018, I had a realization that it was time to make a shift in my life. I knew that it was time to step more fully into who I am here to be, to line up with my values, to line up with how I seek to express in this world, and to share more fully and to step into greater leadership as a spiritual teacher. And at the same time, I started to really embrace this concept, this idea of minimalism or essentialism, and looking at those things in my life and noticed that I had somehow gotten out of balance. And so I made the decision to leave my position at Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago. And my wife, Heather, we have a 3-year-old daughter, we packed everything up. And we decided that we were going to go on this, what we called a mobile ministry tour. Because see, the next step hadn't fully revealed itself yet, but I knew that I had to take action and it was time to make a change. So we took about a month as we packed up all of our things, knowing that we wanted to minimize, that we wanted to downsize, and instead of just, mindlessly putting things in boxes and packing it away in storage, we really asked ourselves, what do we want to keep? What do we really need? We asked these questions of what do I value most, and how do these things match up with that? What brings me joy? I know Marie Kondo, I haven't even watched it yet, but I've heard on Netflix, and she's this big thing of looking at your stuff and what brings me joy? Do I need to keep this? So we had this intentional process of packing our things, of downsizing, and we put our furniture in a little storage pod, and then we kept our basic needs, our favorite clothes, favorite toys for our daughter, and we hit the road. So December 21st, we set out on this journey, and we have no job, we have no home, and we have a 3-year-old daughter. So the world may tell us that we're crazy. The world may tell us that we are poor. And the truth is, in that experience, we experienced more freedom, more abundance than I can even imagine. And it took a willingness to step out on faith and just follow that urge and trust and know that God is my source and a way will be made. So over the past 4 months, we've been traveling to over, I think, 13 now different spiritual communities, speaking, sharing, singing, when she can sing. And what I've learned in this journey is really the topic today, less, the abundance of less, of how less really is more. This embracing this lifestyle of minimalism or essentialism, or some call it intentional living, really proved to me how rich I am in especially people resources. And leaning into our vast network of community of people all over the country, and people just showing up, wanting to give, wanting to support, inviting us to stay at their homes, cooking us a meal. And again, the path just unfolded beautifully along the way by having that deep faith and trust in God is my source. So what I want you to know is that lack is not real. Lack is in our mind. It's a human construct. It's how we perceive things. So I'm not saying that there aren't people that don't have enough food or enough clothes or shelter. There is a reality in the world of form, but that reality is an outpicturing of our collective consciousness, because we have not all said yes to the fact that there is more than enough, that abundance is our true nature. And because of that, there's this inequity and there's experiences of lack in the world of form. But this journey has proven to me, by aligning with that faith and allowing God to be my source, that there is more than enough, and it will always show up when needed if I have the mind, the consciousness, the belief system to know that to be true. So I want to first get kind of on the same page of what I mean by this idea of minimalism. Because I know for some people it can be a trigger. For my wife, Heather, she loves things. Like gifts are her love language. So she loves things. So for a while I had an idea that I couldn't embrace this minimalistic lifestyle because Heather loved her things. And it was so easy to look at all the stuff she had and think, does she really need that and all? And then I finally had the realization of how I was outsourcing my good and projecting it onto Heather, which was an excuse. That I was not stepping into living the life the way I want to live because I thought that she needed to change and she never would. But where does real change start, right? So when I got right with myself, I realized, you know what, Rainbow? At least start with your own side of the bed. I had a pile of papers. I had stuff. I had tons of stuff to go through. I had a closet full of things, closet full of clothes I didn't wear, of boxes of papers that I kept because I don't know why. That finally in this process, I watched this movie on Netflix, The Minimalist, probably 5 or 6 times, just to kind of keep me inspired and in that mindset as I would go through these boxes and just be willing to let go more and let go more and let go more. So minimalism, defined by The Minimalist, the self-proclaimed minimalist on Netflix, they define this as minimalism is a tool to rid yourself of life's excess in favor of focusing on what's important, so you can find happiness, fulfillment, and freedom. Who doesn't want more of that, right? We're seeking this desire to be free, to be fulfilled, to experience happiness. And what if it really has to do with just getting even more laser focused on what we want. The conditioned mind has the tendency to look at what we don't want. We can easily say, I don't like this, I don't want this. We can judge, we can criticize. But if someone were to ask you right now, what do you want? What do you want in your life? How easily could you say, I would like to experience more freedom, more fulfillment in my career. I would like more money to have the opportunity to travel with my family. Like, what are your desires? And are they on the forefront of your awareness? And how much time and energy are you focused on what you really want as opposed to what you don't want? So minimalism isn't just about getting rid of things. There's so much more to this idea of embracing a minimalist mindset. Because also in our mind, there's a whole field of beliefs. And there's all these attachments to things and meanings that we've given to certain things, as well as our belief system. And if we were to focus on those beliefs, those thoughts of what we really want, and let go of the thoughts that keep coming up, reminding us of fear and doubt and lack, we would experience a lot more of what we desire. So we're going to kind of look at this at two levels, both the physical level, the form, the minimalistic way of getting rid of things that we don't need anymore, but also those thoughts. What are those thoughts that no longer serve us? That we can finally say, no, no, and just allow them to dissolve. Because what I know about beliefs and thoughts, that the more you energize them, the more you begin to see, outpicture in your life, evidence of what you believe. And then it becomes this loop, right? You're like, well, yep, see, I had this belief, and now it's showing me. And then your belief gets stronger, and then something else shows up, and your belief gets stronger. So all of a sudden, you've built this case around your own lack and limitation. And you can write a dissertation and enroll everyone in your story on why you don't have enough, or whatever it may be for you. So what if we were to flip that script and to get so laser focused on what we want that that is the conversation that we are always leading with? That is what having a minimalist mindset is. And that is truly how we can experience more abundance, is simply by focusing on the abundance. Today is a beautiful example. The sun is out. It finally feels like spring. The past 2 Sundays I spoke, it snowed. I was like, what is going on? It's springtime. So we can focus on what we want, and we can see evidence of the abundance of the universe all around us. But we have to choose to. We have to have eyes to see it. It's so funny how 2 people can be in the exact same situation and have 2 different experiences, yes? My mom shared this story with me a while back, and she's in Chicago, and she took an Uber ride downtown with a friend of hers to go to an event. And in the car, you know, they're kind of going on some routes that she'd never been before. My mom is just sitting here thinking, well, this is just such a thrilling experience. And she's chatting up the Uber driver and having a good time. They get to their destination, they get out, and my mom's friend looks at her and was like, well, I would not tip them. My mom was like, what? Why? She's like, they were driving all crazy, and it was not safe. And, you know, so my mom's friend was just in an experience of fear the whole time, thinking, woo, you know, jutting in and out of cars downtown. And my mom was thinking, well, this is fun. This is an adventure. All right? They were literally in the same car, had the same experience, but had 2 different experiences because of their perspective. And this is what life is. It's all the lens that we are seeing things through. Abundance is there. Abundance is real. Do you have the eyes to see it? Eric Butterworth, he is a master teacher on abundance. His book, Spiritual Economics, highly recommended. He says, yes, God will supply every need if we open our minds in an enthusiastic desire to give. Ideas, plans, and forms will come easily and flow freely, putting words in our mouths, directing our hands, and moving our feet in the way we should go. All that is required is that we keep in the flow, keep open in mind and heart by positive thoughts and creative faith, and that we keep moving in the direction of our dreams. Everything we need is within us and will always be provided. But we have to take action to step out in that faith and to trust enough, to build our consciousness enough. So our consciousness is like our collective belief system, right? So we have to get to that level of consciousness where we have so much faith and so much awareness in the truth that abundance is all around us that we can walk in that. And what we need will show up as we need it. But it's all a mind game. It starts right here. And how we grow and expand and develop our consciousness and our awareness is through our thoughts. And what we are energizing with our energy and our feelings and what we are putting our focus on. So for me, this limiting belief came up that I either had the time to go and travel and do what I love, which is one of my core values, is this connection and travel and time with my family and adventure. So I either had the time, because I wasn't working as much, but I didn't have the money, or I had the money, because I was working all the time, but I didn't have the time. Anyone else relate to this? And I was like, this is just a trap. It's a trap, and it's not working, and I am going to turn that around. I'm going to realize that this is a limiting belief, and it lives in my mind, and I'm going to have the willingness to experience something different. And so for me, it literally took just letting things go. Quitting the job, moving out of the apartment, a fresh start. What do we want to do? We want to travel, let's travel. What do we want to do? We want to speak, we want to sing, we want to share this message. Let's speak, sing, and share this message. And let's know that we can have time together as a family. We can go on this great adventure, and we can be provided for and fulfilled, more fulfilled than I can ever imagine. Working 60 hours a week at a spiritual center, yet the time of connecting and being with family most of the time, and then still be able to share and give, it was like finally came into alignment. But it took me being willing to believe that I could have it all, It didn't have to be either or, this or that. That is lack and limitation, and it's insidious. It's a thought pattern that lives in the collective consciousness, and you can choose to buy into it, or you can choose to be the one to raise the consciousness for everyone. Who do you want to be? You decide, right? We get to do this work on behalf of the collective and the entire humanity. We may think that it's just about us and our small selves, and I don't know if I want to share my gifts and talents. What if somebody judges me? The world is changed when you step out and share your message, because you have something unique to give. That was for somebody. I don't know. It just kind of came through. Ernest Holmes is the founder of Science of Mind. And he says, it is the nature of the universe to give us what we are able to take. It cannot give us more. It has given all, and we have not yet accepted the greater gift. It is the nature of the universe to give us all. So I like to imagine, when I think of this idea of abundance, I like to imagine a waterfall. So there's this waterfall which represents the ever-givingness of spirit unto itself. This flow, this free-flowing energy of life, of peace, of joy, of abundance, of everything that you desire. And you can stand under that waterfall with a little teacup and receive a teacup's worth of that good based on your own worth and value. Or you can say to the universe, yes, I am worthy, I am willing, I am ready to receive it all. And stand there with arms wide open, with the biggest bucket you can find, and allow that much good to flow through you. It's up to you. How much good are you willing to receive? And how much good are you willing to allow by making room for God? So you can have an idea of what you think it might look like, and then something else sweeps in when you open yourself, when you avail yourself to that ever-flowing, ever-givingness of itself, that grace. Ernest Holmes defines grace as the ever-givingness of itself, of spirit unto itself. How open are you to receive that good? Because life can only show up through us. Again, it's that filtration system. Life is always giving, 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 pouring, being, just existing, but yet it comes through our consciousness, our own belief system. How large is your container for good? And how do we expand that container? Through faith. Eric Butterworth defines faith as consciousness centered in the universal source. Your faith is your awareness, so consciousness, think your awareness centered in the universal source. So again, it's that essentialism, it's that minimalistic mindset by focusing only on source energy, by focusing only on the good. And that is where your faith is. And there's a distinction between faith and trust. So we build our muscle of faith, but it really takes us stepping out and taking action that proves our faith through trust. There was a man named Charles Blondin, who is a famous tightrope walker back in the 20s, I believe it was. And he is most well known for doing the tightrope walk across Niagara Falls. And he was a true showman. So thousands of people had gathered on either end of Niagara Falls to watch this man at like his, pinnacle, the greatest feat that he was going to do, and cross this 1-inch little wire on this tightrope. So he goes across, and the crowd roars, and then he gets out a bag, and he goes out like in a little bag. And then he keeps kind of upping the showmanship here. So then he gets this little oven, and he puts it on his back, and he goes out to the middle, and he balances, and he puts the oven down, and he cracks an egg, and he bakes an omelet. And the story goes that this, boat, the St. Mary or something, is coming underneath him, and he flips an omelet down onto the boat. And, so people are really into this. And they are really knowing and have faith that this man can go across. He is not going to fall. So then he gets a wheelbarrow out, and he loads it with bricks, and they're watching. And he goes across again, and the crowd roars. He starts to take the bricks out, and he looks out to the crowd, and he said, "Who wants to get in?" All of a sudden, it gets a little quiet. See, they had faith that he could do it. But would they take action and put their trust in him by getting in the wheelbarrow? Well, no one said yes, but luckily he had a plant, and he had his assistant that agreed to get in the wheelbarrow, and he did it. He went across this tightrope, 1-inch wire, all the way across Niagara Falls with this man in the wheelbarrow. Where in your life is it time to get in the wheelbarrow? You're building that faith. You're noticing, you're focusing on the good that you desire, and you're seeing examples of it happening around you. That's the first step. That's how you build your faith. You have to, again, have the consciousness first that you can do this. If you just go and quit your job, but your consciousness is still at, I'm not enough and I don't have enough, you're going to get more of that, right? So you have to build your faith and then take action. Take the action. You can lay in your bed all day with all the dreams and write them in your journal and never really put them out there. And that's not the same as really living and really being an example of a demonstration of faith through trust. So what I know is that life is always expressing in, as, and through us, that we can have as much good as we desire. And the more that we ask ourselves, what do we value most? And the more that we focus on that, we can begin to get back in alignment with our heart's desires. This afternoon in the workshop, we're going to do this process called the Life Visioning Process, developed by Michael Beckwith. He is the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center out in LA. And it's a meditative process where we tune in, tap in, and listen to that higher voice of spirit. And we ask these questions around, who am I here to be? What is mine to become? What is mine to release? And we're going to go through this process together of really getting that inner guidance around who we're here to be. And then we're going to distill it down to an intention statement. And then the acting as if comes. We're going to act out some scenes together. We're going to get on our feet and actually create some scenes with other people around what we desire, our intention. We're going to bring it to life. And then you will have that memory. It will be a memory as acting as if what you want has already happened. And then watch how it begins to unfold perfectly in this world of form. So that's the invitation this afternoon to join me after lunch, get your belly full, and then we'll play together. So thank you so much for inviting me here today, and we have one more song by Janice.